Hello and welcome to So Farscape,
a fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan
and a fresh-faced first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay, and this is the Story So Farscape.
Yes, okay, so we've really nailed it this time, I think.
Yes, we did, and now we need to just stop reflecting on that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if that works. I even came in a little late, so I'm gonna. There's always room for improvement.
There is.
I mean, that's kind of the theme for this whole television series that we've been watching together so far, like consistent improvement.
Oh yes,
and,
it's definitely
and
been
evolution.
Picking up. I mean, it's not like it started poorly, but it's like, yeah, I think that the episodes are starting to be a little bit more concise. They're starting to get a little bit more direction, I would say.
Yes, because we started off with American astronaut and science jock John Crichton shot through a wormhole onto a ship.
The living ship.
Very good.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Full of strange alien life forms, including Zhaan, the pacifist blue priest, and
the mysterious
Dargo.
pilot.
Oh, yeah. That one's still...
And although Crichton is like called like that, the real Crichton, of course, is Rigel.
Yeah. And yet they're very often dependent on him for negotiating when they visit a commerce planet. Strangely, not this time.
No. He's like taken ill, I believe. I'm getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we?
So we've also got Dargo, Dargo, as
yes.
we learned last time. The Luxon warrior, Tentacles. Yeah,
yes.
Still love that. And Aeryn Sun, the escaped peacekeeper.
More like banished, escape. I mean, okay, yes, I would consider it escaped, but
I think her punishment was going to be probably incarceration or like execution or whatever.
Execution,
but,
yeah.
So she did kind of escape from that fate.
True. And I mean, she doesn't seem to be too unhappy about it. I mean, she's like, I could have been back in my old life, but I guess she's realizing that wasn't that all that hot. I mean, it might have been comfortable and it might have been what she knew.
It's my duty, my breeding. Since birth, it's what I am.
You can be more.
But she doesn't seem to be too particularly sore about not being a peacekeeper anymore.
No, she's kind of settled where she is now. Like she's just a member of the crew, and she's accepted everyone to various degrees. I don't think she feels like an outsider on the ship anymore. Like she understands.
She knows she doesn't have a place anymore among the peacekeepers, and she's like, basically getting settled into her new life.
Yeah, any hope of that kind of evaporated in last week's episode.
Yeah, and
PK Tech Girl,
and it evaporates a little bit more in this week's episode.
Oh yes, certainly, because we finally, after we got the hint last week that Captain Crais' command carrier, and he's the insane military commander who's chasing John around the galaxy
for killing his brother. In an accident. As he keeps emphasizing.
That was an accident.
An accident. That was an accident.
It was an accident. But it was an accident.
It must have been an accident.
Is still hot on their trail.
Very much so.
And that comes to a head in this episode, which is That Old Black Magic. Now, that originally aired in 1999 on Friday, the 11th of June. I love that we have this sort of data. It's almost like a little time machine. Like, do you remember what you would have been doing in June of 1999?
Well, one of the things I was doing it might have not exactly been in June, because it was probably a little bit later than that.
All right.
Was watching another epic science fiction movie, which came out around that time.
Oh, this is awesome.
We have a little new item for the show. It's called the Far Back Machine.
I love it.
So yes, we're going to have a little moment to talk about other things that happened around the time that Farscape was airing, so we can put it in its historical context.
Yes, yeah. I think this is great because it is over 20 years ago. Some of our listeners may not have been alive then. So there was another television movie.
It was a proper movie. It wasn't a television production, but it was another movie that came out in that around that same time. Was Galaxy Quest.
No way!
Yes, it is. That was 1999. It was the same time. And
I just watched that. Total coincidence. I just watched it this week.
Oh, nice.
It holds up.
It does.
It's incredible.
It's got good aliens, too. The calamari-like... what are they called again?
Oh, the Thermians.
The Thermians, yes.
Yeah, the great big giant squid people with all the tentacles. Like... That's actually really well done.
It was. It's So the movie, for the people
and Salis, the reptile villain, I think it was like an animatronic face, and he had like these claws on the back of his head. Like he looked amazing.
that crest that rises up or that something, isn't it? Yes, that's fantastic.
And like an articulated, was it an animatronic mouth? If so, it was brilliant.
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah. But for the people who don't know it, it's like a bit of a Star Trek pastiche, or it's more about the fanboys of Star Trek, which it's all about.
Yeah. Like, it even starts at a convention of, it's called Galaxy Quest. It is obviously Star Trek.
Yes.
And it's about these faded actors who are cynical and, like, their careers are all on the rocks, and they kind of hate each other.
They're basically living from autograph signatures at conventions and doing openings for... I don't know what kind of place. What kind of place is it? It's like some sort of
like a Best
store.
Buy computer store.
Yes.
By Grabthar's hammer.
What a save.
Even if I hadn't seen it this week, I could have quoted half that movie. I love it so much.
Yes. Who, of course, are then brought out by actual aliens because they think that the show that they featured in was actually a historical documentary.
Documents,
and they have to like fight the alien commander and basically live up to the part that they've been playing. And the whole joke, of course, it is because that the day is rescued by the fans of the series who actually know the backstory and the history and the technology of it so well that they can actually contribute and help out to make sure that everything goes right.
It's so great. It's this fan that the captain or the actor who plays the captain bumped into a few times and really kind of dissed for being such a nerdy, like, uniform wearing, and he's got his buddies. Oh, my crew and I were wandering an episode. Yeah. And he
actually snaps at him for like it's fake. It's a movie. It's
yeah. So in the finale, when spoilers for a 1999 movie, but when in the finale when they need his help, they need to figure out how to navigate the ship. Like he said, hey, before you continue, like I wanted you to know that of course I know that it's just a show, and I'm not crazy.
He goes, it's all real.
Oh my God, I knew it.
Yes. So, for a little bit historical context, that was around the same time.
Wow, what a year that must have been. We got Farscape, we got Galaxy Quest,
loads of other things.
Oh, I
we'll
really
talk
love
about
this.
those in future.
Yes, exactly. Let's keep doing this.
So, episode 108, That Old Black Magic.
That old black magic that weaves so well. That old black magic has me in a spell.
Who's that by?
Really? Oh, I know it from Robbie Williams when he did that Swing album over Christmas. Me and my mum watched it together.
Okay, not familiar with that.
Prepare for starburst!
So we start off on an alien market. Actually, no, it starts off with a great shot of which almost looks like a space station.
Yeah.
Which is never featured again in the rest of the episode. We never see that again. It's just
I guess it's just an establishing shot of this is another commerce planet.
Yeah.
Now, apparently you have tons of commerce planets.
The ship's pilot has just informed us that we're approaching an inhabited system with a commerce planet.
A commerce planet? Excellent. We need many things. Hynerian cream soap, definitely. Some fresh Generate syrup to get rid of the taste of these food cubes. And
Next commerce planet, you are restocking the galley. You ate everything.
I never, ever want to even look at food again.
But yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's all dark alleys with little lights with mosquito nets hanging around it, and then like all the wares are underneath those nets, underneath the little radiant light
yes,
things.
Very good. I wonder if that's something to do with like local wildlife.
I guess it's just a particular kind of aesthetic that they were trying to go for. I mean, all the commerce planets we've seen is always alleys with lots of vendors and stuff like that. Nobody has shop fronts or anything like that. It's all happening out in the open.
Like markets.
Yeah. And Crichton walking around in his orange flight jumpsuit, which is clearly meant to look like a spacesuit, but it's just a jumper. Or just an overall, I believe.
It's just a jumpsuit.
Yep.
It's got it's got pull strings for the collar, but what would it pull?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have a...
Maybe in case he gets cold in space and he can snug up his collar a little bit.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not going to provide much of a seal, I don't think. But yeah, he stands out because everybody else on this planet is wearing like magenta cloaks and cowls. They're a sort of magenta-colored species.
Okay. Oh, I hadn't particularly noticed.
Well, at first I thought they might have been Sicarans, whom we saw a few episodes ago in Thank God It's Friday again and again and again.
Yeah.
But they probably don't get a lot of sunlight down here in the deep belly of this commerce city. So they must just be magenta on their own.
Possible. It hadn't jumped out. I mean, we don't really see a great lot of other aliens other than the few characters that play in this episode. But,
it's just some crowd shots.
So Zhaan is just shopping around for medicine for Rigel, who's taken ill with some space flu.
No, Rigel, I haven't found you any medicine yet.
Hurry up. I'm very sick.
I'm dying.
You only have a touch of Clendian flu. It's not fatal.
We only wish it were.
Zhaan, I'm suffering here.
I like that conceit. It's just like you just have a little bit of Crendian flu. Don't worry about it.
And yeah, he's like being
it's
like
very considerate of
the
her.
drama queen that he always is, and everything is the worst in the world, and he feels terrible. And yeah, she's shopping for medicine and just like moving around the market, and Crichton is just like walking around, and he sees this jester-like figure.
Hey, you in a big feat. Now, you want a hand with your problem? Help's right here, and his name is Haloth.
This ginger jester with like patchwork outfit.
Yeah, it's like Wash from Firefly in a jester outfit. It's
and he's capering around in his very thick Australian accent.
He must be one of those daytime shows people who was like catered for this. Sorry, who was hired for this movie. Like, you know, the. No?
Wait, you didn't? Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yes, probably some Australian fans would have recognized him, I'm sure. But yeah, this jester knows a little bit more about Crichton than
a little bit more. He knows a lot more.
You'd
It's like he knows his name. He knows that he comes from Earth.
How do you know my name?
I know lots of things. First, you're dying to get home to Earth. Second, there's a peacekeeper cruiser hunting you. Third, you're not interested, are you? Oh, well, sorry to bother you. Ho, hold it.
All this information that he has no right to know. Couldn't know.
Crichton, he's a cool customer. I like that he goes, yeah, okay.
What's a scam?
This is a scam, right? Right? Yeah, you must have heard Zhaan or Darga telling somebody all this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you overheard that. This is cold reading.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm from Iowa or what did you say? Oahu. Like it's either Iowa or Oahu that he's from. You know, those neighboring states. And he thinks he's a scam, but no, you know, your mother's maiden name is
MacDougall. You skipped third grade and you lost your virginity to Karen Shaw in the back of a minivan.
Do you notice he's got a stick with
the
two little bags
bags
dangling?
It was a very suggestive little. Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't a minivan. It was a 4x.
John, you're grabbing at straws. Look, what's wrong with listening to the pitch? You don't like the product, you don't have to buy it.
Crichton is like clearly tempted to come with him.
He can't not.
He literally goes like, "Well, you don't have to. You can come along and you can like hear the offer, and if you don't like the price, you don't buy." And he basically gets talked back to a doorway, and like as soon as he decides to come in, there's this red mist that teleports him.
Yeah,
or at least seems to teleport him.
There's cool CGI sparkles of red all around him,
and transports him into this weird looking room. It's like a big cavernous room. There's like lots of cloaked statues all over the place. There's some amazing profiterole towers on the tables.
Yes, I recognized it immediately as a coq en bouche, the French tradition of profiteroles and their
stuck
sort of
together with honey and
that's a bit of a wedding tradition.
Yeah, so I was really wondering about that. There's also the two red cloaked things on the other table. Which
I know.
I was just waiting for those things to come off and there being like someone's head underneath there or anything. That's pretty much what. Although my first thought it was like, what are the Imperial Guards from Star Wars doing there? But like,
well, at least their heads.
Yeah, at least their heads.
This whole set was so great. Like you've got the sort of alternating diamond pattern on the floor. It's all shiny. You've got great big sconces and fire pits. It looks so medieval.
It's Fu Manchu's mansion, but then.
Fu Manchurian? No, I can't even. Fu Manchurian? No. None of it's working. It put me in mind of like a Doctor Who set. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, very much so.
I mean, it's really arch lighting.
Yeah, it's like they invaded Canterbury Abbey and they just like put some props in the middle and there we go.
It's like a photo shoot at a Ren fair.
There you go.
I thought it was so cool. It's quite different than anything we've seen on the show so far, and we've seen a lot of different things. This is theatrical. It's panto, especially when he meets like the occupant, Haloth,
the Fu Manchu guy.
My name is Haloth.
Fu Manchu,
he's got the little skull cap and the like long beard and
a sort of Patagonian like serape that he's wearing. It's like he's like a, I don't know,
What's
like
that?
a Peruvian Merlin.
Oh, the skull cap or whatever it is.
No, the cloak that he's wearing.
Oh, okay.
The serape,
oh,
you know,
right,
the,
I see
the,
what you
the
mean.
sort of
Yeah,
wrap.
yeah, I see what you mean. It does have that weird
With
pattern
two
on
happy
it.
chappies and snappy serapis, you'll find us beneath our sombreros.
I was going to say, is that Gilbert and Sullivan, but then you mentioned sombreros, and then it was...
It's from the Three Caballeros.
Yes, I figured that now.
Oh, José.
And we are on the intro break.
Yes, so kind of a wild break for Farscape, which has established itself as a wild show, because now there's f***ing magic. I've got to learn to stop swearing so much because this is a PG-13 show.
Yeah.
I have been bleeping them all out conscientiously, but hey, we have a new opportunity here because I don't know if you caught it. It's blink and you miss it. This was the first introduction to the word frel.
What the frel?
Frel you.
Frel you then.
What is a frel?
Well, frel you, frel me, frel this situation. This is frelling terrible.
It's like the frack from... It's the Farscape
Yes,
frack.
yes,
Yes.
the Farscape frack. Yes, that's right. So we say frelling.
Okay, let's try and see if we can keep up with that.
Yeah, let's. The situation that we are left with after this opener, I mean, everyone's kind of separated. All of these stories are incomplete. Everyone's just been placed somewhere. We don't even know what the peril is going to be.
No.
Right? And that's normally... Like,
well, he's been tempted with an offer, and now he's in a strange place, and apparently
clearly
he's
sinister.
Yeah, he's going to hear what it is. That's what he's been brought out for here for.
You know, I initially thought that there would be parallels between his experience and Zhaan's, because Zhaan is also approached by a sort of magenta magician, a very sexy...
It's red versus blue.
Yes, it is. That hadn't even occurred to me. But yeah, he's also seducing sort of Zhaan with,
I sell Jixit root, among other interesting things.
I have the herbs that you need.
Yes.
I couldn't help it over here. Why don't you follow me over here and take a look at my fantastic fishnet vest?
Yes. Oh, no, you say fishnet, but it's like a bejeweled fishnet. It's like gorgeous.
Right,
It serves no practical purpose, but it looks gorgeous.
Bejazzled fishnet.
Oh, yes.
I've never seen such quality.
I'm honored to be complimented by Delvian Pa'u.
And he's got another weird shop where there's all these little hanging paper baskets, which are lit
and Zhaan
from
is
blood.
besotted.
Oh yeah, she just oh, this is very fresh.
Dried gavok. Quite aromatic.
And she sniffs something, and then she picks up a bottle which has some erotic oil in it or something or the other.
What's this?
Trellin oil. Careful with that.
Toxic.
Quite the contrary. It's a sensual stimulant. Enriches the conjugal experience.
Oh, yeah.
And they have this little moment where they're flirting and oh, are you going to try it alone? Or I might be ashamed to do it on your own.
As you like.
Yes, and
I'd suggest you test it before you buy.
Alone.
As you choose.
I stand by my wares.
yes,
He's a very flirty herbalist.
they are very
Flirby
much eye-f***ing each other and
Frelling.
oh, sorry, they're eye-frelling each other. Yes. So we're back to Crichton, who is talking to the weird old dude, who basically makes him an offer that he can help him get in touch with the commander, the crazy commander, who is still chasing him.
Captain Crais.
Crais, that's the one.
Come on, Crais. Come on, Crais. Oh, come on, Crais.
Crais.
Captain Crais.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Crais on his command carrier, and he is losing it. He's working his crews to the bone. They're never getting a moment's rest.
No,
Everybody has to.
Captain Crais, all marauders have reported in. They're low on fuel, sir. They must return.
The marauders will launch the moment they're refueled.
Captain, the marauders have been on continuous patrol. The pilots are so fatigued that it would be dangerous
It's
to
far
launch.
more dangerous for a peacekeeper unable or unwilling to do his duties. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Refuel and fly out again immediately, and you can actually tell because his hair is a little bit disheveled. It's like he's got a little bit of
bit of stubble.
Very cutely done in makeup, just make him look a little bit.
Yeah, because he was so perfectly his sideburns were cut to the millimeter.
Yep.
His hair was perfectly slicked back. His beard was so angular, and now the edges are starting to show. I thought it was so cool because he apparently it's been 72 hours since he last shaved, and he's working himself to the bone as well.
Yep.
He gets informed by Lieutenant Teeg, and she's his second in command.
Priority communication from High Command.
In my chamber, Lieutenant.
Yes, she hands him an Enforcer USB, which with orders that have just arrived from High Command.
It only occurred to me later, like in editing the episode, that Enforcers is what is your cute name for the Peacekeepers. Like I thought,
right.
Kay just got it wrong. But no, I'm so sorry about that.
Looks like an Enforcer.
2 Enforcers.
Yeah, they've got a USB key, and in order to read it, they've got to both like stick their hands into like a 2 palm print verification system.
Which is pretty cute because it actually gets mentioned because like
the Admiral wanted you to hear this in case I refused.
He'd expect me to take over command in that event.
It's a way to ensure that his second in command also gets the message.
Yes.
Because the message is, get your ass back.
Withdraw from the uncharted territories at once.
You are hereby ordered to cease your activities in the what's it called again? The uncharted territories. Yes, and get your ass back, and we'll talk about your waste of resources that you've been spending on this.
Yes, and your utter failures. Yes. And I thought that the person on the hologram, and the hologram was cool, by the way. It was this red hologram with all of these graphics around it, and it's got an eye patch. Like it was proper cool. We get to see the inside of, I guess, Crais' ready room for the first time.
Yes.
Which has, that's a high-ass ceiling.
Yeah.
I noticed that in the command carrier.
It's pretty roomy anyway.
Yeah.
And they have a little discussion about, like, what to do. Like, does anybody know about this? No. And, like, where do your loyalties lie? They lie to my commander and the ship and blah, blah, blah.
And my loyalties lie with the council, of course.
Is there any other record of this transmission?
No.
Dismissed.
And he smashes the USB key.
Yeah, he's clearly not intending to comply with the orders to give up his search and come back home.
He's left alone, and suddenly he too is surrounded by the bright red CGI fairy dust.
Yes, and he is transported to that same room where still the same old geezer is standing there, and who starts making him an offer to deliver him Crichton.
Before you vainly try and do me harm, behold this glimpse of one whose death you've sworn.
Making him, both of them, an offer that they can't refuse, and where Crichton wanted to use the opportunity to make peace. Yeah, Crais is way more straightforward. He wants to kill him, and that's worth it for him.
Yep. And the old guy, who seemed to be more than happy to help.
Yeah, this doddering old fool.
Yeah, he seemed to be eager to help, but now he's almost just as eager, or even more so, to help Crais into like getting our good man killed.
It was at this point that, like, we've been spending a lot of time in the sort of dining chamber of this crazy,
which keeps coming back,
castle.
Yeah.
I noticed something about the set design. Like, aside from being crazy, there are these repeating tiles throughout the background.
Yeah, I noticed those.
And they're sort of fractal tiles, like it's rectangular tiles with deep grooves and smaller rectangles therein. I recognize that from Blade Runner.
Oh.
Because it's in the Bradbury building where Blade Runner was filmed, and it's also in I think it's in Deckard's apartment. Also has these same tiles. So I thought it was so cool to see them.
Probably
again.
Just found them in the prop department or something, and it's like, oh, these look cool. We can use that.
Yeah,
just slap them up against the wall and be done with it.
Those, like, they've been cool for so long. They've been using these in a really cool genre sci-fi since at least since the 80s. Now also 1999.
Yeah.
Because they have such deep texture, so they really show off the light, which in this case, like, this teal light, teal and orange, but it gives a sort of otherworldly vibe throughout this whole episode. I feasted my eyes on the light, which constantly changes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to get the impression of a weird building, which it is. I mean, you never really get the idea that there's a layout to the place. It's just like
It's
weird shots, and there's a fire pit later, and
it's like it's just a crazy infinite labyrinth,
right.
Because they're not in a real place.
It actually gets mentioned in the next scene where it's back to Dargo and Aeryn, where Dargo has just grabbed someone off the street who apparently saw where Crichton was off to.
Yeah.
He does this cute little hiss growl at them, and you almost think he's going to give them a tongue lashing again.
He was alone, I swear.
You're lying to me. You saw him with someone, didn't you?
No!
It was a little girl.
Yeah,
it's like a 10-year-old girl that he's bullying, and now I've started to go, you're lying.
It's his only scene in the whole episode, essentially. I mean, Aeryn and Dargo have literally no real role in this episode.
No, they're pretty reactionary. Although, Dargo gets a little bit of character development. So first of all, he can smell Crichton.
Wait, you can smell Crichton in all of this?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Through all of that.
Yeah, and he's even got a stronger order than you do. And she's like, I don't have a strong order. And he just doesn't reply and wanders off and wanders straight to where Crichton is lying unconscious.
Crichton!
Is he alive?
Get Zhaan. Now!
It turns out that he wasn't actually transported anywhere.
Right, it's all in the mind.
Which we find out after they go back to Red Guy.
Yes, Liko is his name.
Okay, I didn't catch
But I've got him as the magenta magician or the flirty herbalist.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Back to the weird temple, the weird place.
Yeah, where Haloth, the doddering old Patagonian wizard, transforms into Maldis. Yes, the white-haired, yellow-eyed, black-frilled kink wizard.
Oh, is that what you'd want to call him? Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I mean, look at him. He's got a sort of like black pleather play suit
with this amazing lacy cuff that stands out like all the way like he belongs back in the 17th century.
Exactly. He's got tiny little like socks, like his legs taper, and it's got really loose sleeves. Like it just. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
It's quite the outfit. So at this point, I noticed that Maldis and what did you say his name was? Magenta Boy?
Liko
have the same eyes.
Yes. I noticed that as well.
They have the same yellow eyes. So I was immediately going like, okay, that's peculiar.
Yeah.
And I had some theories over that, which didn't play out to be true. But
now it's interesting that you like this was also where I had some theories that I didn't remember from my first watch through. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at Liko on his skin, and he shows a lot of skin. He's all magenta, but he's got all these sort of gold spots. On his forehead in a pattern along his hairline and also along his chest, which reminded me a little bit of the spots on Zhaan.
Right.
And also, like his earlobes are sort of joined into his jawline, much like Zhaan's as well.
Yeah.
They're not nearly identical, but cousin species.
Well, yes.
You know what I mean?
And he is also a priest of whatever it is. I mean,
immediately recognized her as a Delvian priestess.
Yeah.
Are you level 12? No, only level 9.
Yes. I was like, oh, well.
Life is impressive enough.
And then he praised her a little bit for that, and it's like more in the flirty department.
All in his herbal shop, which has these gorgeous chairs and lights. It's like a 1980s like throwback IKEA. It's great.
Yeah, I suppose they did a little bit of shopping there. So Crichton and Crais immediately start fighting, or at least it's Crais who starts the fighting as soon as he sees Crichton.
Yeah, he looks around, grabs the first weapon he can, and they have a little pike party.
Which is from one of the statues, and starts to lay into Crichton immediately.
John defends himself
poorly,
clumsily, but it's sort of like Star Trek fighting.
Yeah, well, replace cockfighting.
Although he does quickly learn how to fight. It's like he seems to... he gets a little cut on his hand, which immediately is mirrored by his actual body, which starts bleeding.
This cut wasn't here before.
Ah, yes, he got wrapped over the knuckles, and they now need to be treated.
Yeah, he gets knocked out, and then suddenly he's away. He's somewhere else. You know, it's like there's another scene with Zhaan and Liko, where they discuss what they're going to do with Crichton. And the next time the scene cuts back to Crichton, he is sitting in a hallway, nursing and bandaging his hands. Like nothing about how he got away from Crais or anything like that. It's just apparently, which happens a few times during the episode.
Like he's a real. I don't know that we have a substitute for it. No, he's a real cock tease, I was going to say. So I'm going to have to bleep that one out again. But he's a real tease, that Maldis. I mean, he's like an evil Elton John the way he's dressed, and anytime that they really go at it, Maldis goes goes manic. He has this absolute like sadistic mania,
Yes.
and then before the moment of release, like he snaps his fingers and they're separated again, and he brings them down again.
Oh, maybe
like,
it was Maldis actually doing it. So I hadn't considered that he was just like letting.
Well,
them
he
fight.
does it later, so I assume that he did it as well. It's like he's just edging.
So cue one of many scenes of Crichton and Crais stalking each other through the buildings. Like you said, the difference between the teal and the green.
Well, it's moved on to green now, and then where Crais is stalking with his spear, it's yellow. Like it's going through a whole spectrum throughout the episode.
Mm. Crichton tries to talk sense into him. He apologizes for what happened. He tries to actually depict the whole thing. He starts talking to Crais about like, okay, like what did you think of my ship? Like it wasn't armed. It was like clearly inferior,
primitive.
And like, how did I kill your brother? And like I got sucked through a wormhole. I ended up in your space battle, and we bumped into each other.
Oh, yeah. I popped into the middle of a giant space battle and decided to go one-on-one with a total stranger in a far superior ship.
And you see it working on Crais. You see it chipping away at his
resolve.
Yeah, because he's an intelligent man. He knows that this is stupid, and now he's actually hearing it from someone that he can't ignore. It's chipping away, and you can see like Lani Tupu did amazing in these scenes. It was so good to see him like get some space to flex his acting muscle.
Yes. We get a gorgeous shot of Moya drifting through space.
Yeah, she's always like in these hazy ochre clouds.
Yes,
she's just beautiful.
There's a lot of ochre in space in that area.
Right?
Yeah.
It's weird how she always seems to color match the environment. Maybe it's like reverse camouflage, that she only likes to, maybe she likes to go places where she can sort of blend in.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just like orange type suns, when they don't go to red or white suns, they just stick with the orange ones.
Oh, okay, and then you've got like a dependable Goldilocks zone where you'll find a habitable planet. Yeah, okay.
Rigel, looking very wet and smirky as usual, gets a bit of goo slapped on his face like he just caught one.
The concoction of tiger balm that Zhaan made for him gets sort of. Dargo's bedside matter is terrible. Like, okay, put some of this in your breathing orifices.
It is ointment of Uvok. It will help clear your breathing passages.
Smears it on there, flicks his hand through, medicine done. On with the
on with the fighting.
But Rigel looked so miserable throughout this. Like his earbrows are drooping and he's all sweaty, and he's got a fun little sort of bathrobe on. Did you notice?
Yeah,
or a house coat.
I also noticed that he's a lot more mobile in this episode than he was in previous episodes. Yeah,
because normally like they'd put him on a pedestal somewhere. But
he's floating in his chair. But now he was shuffling around and moving about, and he seemed much more ambulatory.
Yeah, because he's left alone with Crichton, who's on this bed, and then he starts what he called like the Hynerian like funerary rites, where he's lit a frail ton of candles.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. It almost looked like a Fraggle cave in the dark with all those lights. I wonder what kind of reference they were making there.
He doesn't know what kind of funeral rites they were, so he just gives them the Relgian ones, or what are they called?
The Hynerian ones. Yes.
Ones.
Oh, it's so good.
It's like, yes, and please go to the afterlife. And
John Crichton, valued friend.
Now, wait a minute. Valued friend is a bit of a stretch.
Unwelcome shipmate. Go to your gods and to your hallowed realm.
No, to the hallowed realm.
That's right. Go to the hallowed realm. Oh, wait. No, that's the Hynerian. Find your own hallowed realm. It's such a good line.
He's always the self-centered little shit, basically.
With the ceremony of passage complete, I declare you officially dead and claim all your possessions for myself.
Yep, and
he's for the boots.
And he immediately starts taking his boots off. Yeah.
What's he going to do with those boots?
I have no idea. I think he's just doing it on general principle.
Yeah, they say you have to walk a mile in someone's shoes to understand them.
Now, speaking of principles, that's something that Zhaan is being confronted with. Liko, the magenta magician, is telling her that in order to stand a chance against Maldis and his magic, that they may need to work together. That it's something that he tried to resist Maldis, who now controls this planet somehow.
Yeah, because he basically sucks anybody in who displeases him and then kills them eventually, and he lives on that. Yeah.
And Liko, who was a high priest to her surprise.
Yeah, tried to fight him but failed, and now he's like being kept in poverty and having to live like this, much to his chagrin apparently. Although he seemed to be content enough by it earlier.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He's certainly very seductive.
Basically, he starts coaching Zhaan, preparing her to fight.
Weaponizing her spiritual abilities. And for her, it's incredibly frightful. Right. Because we've heard previously that before her imprisonment, she was a savage.
Savage, capable of anything.
And she found peace in
the Delvian seek.
Yeah,
as in seeking. That's what their religious process is called.
Okay. I mean, I did like that she seemed to have a much bigger role in this episode.
Finally, right?
Yeah, and immediately a lot of character development as well.
I also love that it was a little bit foreshadowed by mentioning like her savagery. Watching it in the actual intended order is so much more rewarding than the sort of chaos that the original airing order inferred. But yeah, she's now got to weaponize it, and she does not want to do this. She does not want to open that Cassandra's box. Pandora's box.
Pandora's box, yes. She basically wants, she knows she has the inner anger or strength or whatever it is to use her powers to fight with, but she doesn't want to go there because she knows it's basically going back to a state that she was in before, and she doesn't think she's strong enough to come back out of that again.
Yeah, almost like a person who's gone through a substance abuse problem.
Yeah.
Like really dreading having to ever encounter that again, because it took such monumental effort to build the willpower and overcome that dependency. You don't know whether you can do it again necessarily.
No. Meanwhile, there's another fight scene between Crais and Crichton.
Yes, it's a real sort of American gladiator that they've got going on.
You want gladiators? Fine. Can I get a hell yeah?
Whacking each other with pikes.
He actually does another brilliant fight reversal, ends up with the pike, and threatens Crais with it and spares him, even though Maldis is gleefully cackling over the whole fight. But Crichton here gets he seems to get wise. He figures out what is going on with Maldis, that he's like an emotional vampire or feeding on their conflict and their pain.
So he's your basic evil vampire.
He sucks the life force out of people.
He just plain sucks.
He kind of works out that he's like, man has probably no intention to let them either of them out. And just wants them to fight for his own pleasure and amusement and actually sustenance.
Yeah, because this pattern like repeats. Now it's in a sort of James Bond a death trap, like the chamber with the fire pit in the middle, and they've got just these catwalks that they have to balance on, and there's lots of sconces on the wall where they have another fight.
Yes,
another one that is interrupted by Maldis after he goes completely manic, egging them on.
You know what I think, John? You can talk till your tongue falls out. He's going to kill you regardless.
After Crichton almost manages to talk Crais down from it and convince him that it was an accident and I'm sorry for what he actually apologizes very sincerely for what happened and tries to explain it. But Maldis starts to manipulate Crais by showing him images from the past.
He goes for the emotions. It's so brilliant. It's like that Christmas movie or sort of evil Scrooge.
Scrooge McDuck, but with
McDuck.
Well, what was that thing about a slim duck? Slam dunk.
There's not a giant pit of money at the bottom of the fire chamber.
We don't know that.
We do not. No. You've definitely got me there. No, okay. But
he shows him his father, who looks like a cross between Sean Connery and John Rhys Davies.
Yes, doing Aladdin cosplay. Like there was a very sort of Prince of Persia vibe to. I mean, honestly, to this chamber as well. But they've got baby Crais
and young his brother.
Bialar. What did Maldis say? Oh, he said the seedling and the mighty oak.
Right.
Because the child Crais that we know, or sort of.
We see how he gets shanghaied with his little brother into the a peacekeeper service.
Yes,
and
a great honor, he insists.
And his father, just like tells him, like, take care of your little brother and like keep an eye on him, which kind of is a very good insight into why Crais has this like emotional issue with his brother being dead and why he's so intently hell bent on this.
Heavily traumatized man.
Yeah.
He was removed from his parents as a child, and he had like only one tether, and that was to be his brother's protector, and that was broken. So. Yeah, this is also how Crichton realizes that this bridge is uncrossable.
I thought I could reason with him.
You can't.
Because it's not reasonable. It's not something that can be solved with reason. There is a gaping wound in Crais' heart that reason can't fill.
No.
Which is why I thought it was also like a brilliant stroke on Maldis' part to expose him to this, to show him these images, to show him then also like his adult brother, or an image thereof.
Oh, yes, how he was like, but now he looks more like this, and then he turns into this blackened corpse.
Yeah, sort of like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's what I was thinking exactly,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
But also, Maldis kind of looks like the Nazi dude from that anyway, with his eyes wide open and his...
Yeah, and he's got the high leather collar as well.
Right, there you go.
I like their whole sort of get-up of this. Like, they've got to be Sebaceans. Like, that seems to be the species that does the peacekeepers, but they were clearly not the same kind of Sebaceans that they didn't have the sort of same cultural expression as like we see from Aeryn. They didn't have like the cues. They had little turbans, and they had.
Wait, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Crais and his family as children.
Oh, right. It might just be a different part of the planet, or just a different planet entirely.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So you have like multiple Sebacean colonies, and they were clearly from like it looked maybe agricultural or whatever. Certainly warm enough that you can wear an open vest. Lots of open vests and lots of
they do like
beautiful chests.
So Zhaan gets more training from Liko. Sorry.
Yeah,
and she basically gets taught how to use her powers to inflict pain. And it's like this first on this cute little creature, which she clearly has issues with trying to hurt.
Yeah, because it's got this awful whine, and like it's a creature called a Trelkez. We see it at the beginning when Zhaan is marveling at the
bizarre of the bizarre.
The bizarre, yeah. And Aeryn goes, "Oh no, don't buy that one. It's got
too few heads."
They come with more?
Yeah, more heads, the better value they are.
Yes, and because apparently more heads means more brains, and therefore you eat them raw.
They're the best part.
Like you'd cook this guy and eat his brains.
Cook, never. Raw.
Dargo and Aeryn have found the doorway of the...
yes, they've both brought their big guns back from Moya. Dargo has his keyblade out, which he once again does not use.
It doesn't unlock the door either. Aeryn shoots at the door a little bit. Doesn't do anything. Nothing
it seems to have a sort of force field that resists even her mighty weapon.
It's the same red glow that just sucks up the energy, and nothing comes off it. So shooting doesn't really help.
And a very different Zhaan approaches them. Like, she's cold.
Yeah.
And she talks to them, and she asks them some unusual questions about, in order to defeat an evil, she would have to unleash a new evil, and what would you do? And Dargo takes it completely seriously and actually thinks about it.
Yeah, and says, like, take the lesser evil.
And he's not flippant about it. Like,
no.
Throughout all this, he's scared of that door. Like, he's ready to give up. They mentioned magic, and he's kind of uneasy and terrified.
Yes, but he's also just going into his stoic warrior thing, where he's just going to go like, oh, I'm just going to warrior my way through this.
You know, that's not what I saw.
Oh, okay.
I saw him like shifting and like furtive glances. I think he didn't want to shoot at the door because he didn't want to, I guess, displease the wizard or whatever.
Interesting.
But yeah. Like, even when they were having the conversation about Maldis, you just saw Dargo nervous.
So maybe he knows something about magic that he's not letting on.
Or is very superstitious, or
same
actually,
difference.
Yeah.
So yes, they're still at the door, and it's like, why don't we just blow it up? And I'm just like, they've just been trying that; it didn't work.
Well, there's one more thing that you can do with a pulse rifle that John did accidentally, and that is.
Damn thing malfunctioned or something.
Oh, you overloaded the pulse chamber.
Overload it.
Yep, and then it blows up with a big bang.
Which she tries to do, and Maldis goes like, oh, can't have that, and he just like does a little finger flip, and the gun flies out of her hand and disappears in a red haze.
It's so cool. Like, they're having this chat outside of the door, and Aeryn, who throughout much of this explanation about Maldis and his powers, and even Zhaan's sort of edgy goth poetry phase just now. Had a lot of resting what face. And she goes, oh, we can try this. And Dargo goes, oh, no, it won't work. And Maldis, just cut to Maldis inside.
That might work.
It won't work.
It might work. Can't have that.
And freezes them.
Does he?
Yeah. Vanishes the rifle out of her hands. And as they're walking toward it, they just stop in a haze of particles.
Yes, they do. He basically exerts his power on them.
Yeah.
Crais and Crichton are having another little moment in which they reach out through each other through a narrow corridor when they're like stalking each other through the mansion.
Yes.
And Crichton tries one last time to reason with Crais, who flat out turns him down. He says, like, no, I will kill you. You will die at my hands. I vow that on my brother's name.
Yeah.
And... so at that point he knows, like, okay, not happening.
It was a really cool scene. Like they're separated by a corridor
gap.
that's too narrow.
Yeah.
Orange-red light now, by the way. We're still cycling. It's like they've got Philips Hue lights and they've just got them set to a very slow cycle.
It's clearly built because it starts out cool and blue and then it goes yellow, blue, green, and now it's orange-red.
Maldis appears and confronts Crichton and says, "You're not as thick as I thought you were." Interesting word choice.
Yes.
You're not nearly as thick as I thought, John.
Because Crichton has figured it out. This is what he says to Crais. We've got an energy vampire. He's feeding off of us getting horny for killing each other.
Yes, he basically works out exactly how it goes. Like,
he's right.
Yeah, he's figured him out and basically shown the scientist in him again. And
imagine Crichton doing science.
Yes.
He fights it tooth and nail, but he still can't help it now and again.
Look, it's just really tedious. Sometimes science is.
Okay, back to pain lessons for Zhaan.
With Dargo's advice, she decides, well, I'm going to have to do it anyway, so she gets ready to torture this poor little two-headed Trelkez, but then Rigel calls.
Yeah, okay, so I actually noticed that only Zhaan and Rigel seem to be wearing a Moya Com badge. You know, they have that little thing on their shoulder.
Dargo has one as well.
But
you see it on the...
I guess it's hidden in all the rest of its paraphernalia.
Yeah, he's got it on like one the strap of something.
Yeah.
Aeryn, I think she has it on her Kamona Eileen suspenders. But yeah, no, you're right. Zhaan is also the only one who uses it consistently. Like Virginia Hay was very proud of that. She sort of worked out like the protocol of when to touch it and when not to touch it. She tried to teach it to the rest, but they just
nobody was particularly interested. Yes. So they start doing a little bit of pain infliction on Rigel, who almost seems to get off on it at least when it's over again.
He looked so miserable while it was happening, and he has no idea why it's happening.
But then there's a beautiful eyebrows moment when it
they perk back up once the pain stops.
It was a gorgeous movement. I noticed it's
the puppetry on Rigel was so great because I forgot. I went into this going like, oh wow, the puppetry is really amazing, and then by this time I was just, what a great performance by Rigel.
Part of me enjoyed that.
I love how they make him do that cruel little smirk of his. That's just like there's so much emotion in that. It's fantastic how they managed to tease that out of a puppet. It's like consistently stunning.
And the voice actor has got to say, Jonathan Hardy, who has. Well, he's an actor. We've seen him in.
Right. I thought he was the same guy. I thought it was done by the same guy who plays Crais. Didn't you tell me?
No,
that?
that's Pilot.
Oh, Pilot, right? That's the one. Yeah,
Pilot is Crais with a pitch shift.
Yeah.
No, Jonathan Hardy, I think, is the name of the person who's the voice acting, but he does it sort of after the fact. I guess Pilot does it after the fact as well.
Yeah.
There's a puppeteer, like the main puppeteer, who is always credited, who operates Rigel. That's John Eccleston. And so for the actors,
I'm surprised they didn't use his voice, because that's fairly common for one of the puppeteers to just do the voice of the puppet as well.
It was very confusing for the actors to see the show and then suddenly Rigel didn't sound like the Rigel that they knew.
No, I guess not.
But he does a great performance. Also, if you see Jonathan Hardy, he's got the eyebrows. They're huge. He looks like a mentat. A quick cut back to the command carrier, which we're getting to see a lot of this time, where I noticed that Crais was on a sort of diagnostic bed, and there was a doctor with slick back hair trying to do, I guess, medical science with one of those particle analyzers that make the same noise, while Crais was laid on a futon made of red rope licorice.
Oh.
It's like a sumo massage futon.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Like probably like a treatment bed. I mean, maybe it's for letting the blood run out in case they start leaking. I don't know if Sebastians do that, but probably. And it is the medical bay.
It had the peacekeeper carpet in the background.
Yes.
You just see a little glimpse in it, and they've got a different like command station on it this time.
They had little symbol was on the USB stick as well. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. In Maldis' castle, we meanwhile have a beautiful kinetic sculpture. It's like a spinning Christmas tree made out of iron beams or something.
Very thrilling Christmas.
Sort of sticking with the unnecessary James Bond theme.
More of your relief rocks. This time, in purple. And Crichton finally seems to get through to Crais. He explains it one more time about the emotional vampire and that like a truce is like, he's not going to let both of us out. So like, let's have a truce until we defeat him. Crais agrees.
Finally convinces him.
My oath as a peacekeeper.
Good, truce it is.
Yes.
And immediately betrays him.
After giving his word as a peacekeeper, his oath as a peacekeeper. Wow.
Are all the species on your planet this dim?
So, it turns out the fight. There's another... Crichton immediately manages to reverse it again, grabbing the chain that he was being beaten with and chained off with.
Hey, Crais is not very good at hand-to-hand.
Apparently not, no. You'd
right,
think
this trained military commander keeps getting his ass handed to him by a science jock from Oahu.
He has an immediate first victory, and then there's like an almost immediate turnaround of that same situation. Right. And Crichton just like very deliberately drops that chain right in front of Maldis' face.
It's like a mic drop.
I'm not playing your game. It's like,
Yeah. How did you... Hey, just let's take a moment to reflect. How have you been feeling about Maldis throughout all this? He's weird.
He's almost like a non-entity as he's present.
Exactly.
He does his thing and he's egging them on, trying to get them to fight and playing his little mind games. But he's
and holding those speeches and everything. But he doesn't
do anything. No.
Yeah, like he separates them. He magics people away. Like technically, he's doing a lot of stuff.
Well, he literally talks about how he feeds on death, and all of this is just like appetizers. He's just like setting the table and making it more delicious. And actually complains that he's like done with first courses, and he wants the main course of death now.
Yeah. Speaking of death, now that she's had her practice and she's learned her evil lessons from Liko,
yes,
they're ready to take action.
Yeah, no mercy, never give up, never surrender.
Whoa!
Attack without mercy.
No mercy.
No survivors, no mercy.
Do you hear your friends begging for mercy?
Those are two very different sentiments. The no mercy part is not part of the Galaxy Quest creed.
Well, no,
it's not like, throw a grenade and let the Force sort them out.
Well, that is pretty much the emotion that they have when they go into this part. Liko and Zhaan together start to mentally attack Maldis
in order to hopefully bring down the force field around his castle,
or at least cripple him or do something.
And it's a very tense situation because once again Crichton and Crais are confronted, and this time Crichton knows that there is nothing that he can do. His vow to Maldis to not fight doesn't help him. He can't not fight. He can only choose to die or kill Crais. And in this moment, he's choosing to kill Crais. Like he's sweaty, he's committed, and when he gets teased again by Maldis and Crais disappears, he's furious. Bring him back. Let me at him.
I had him.
First, we have the the profiterole moment where in the fight they're...
How could I miss that?
They go crashing into the towers of...
How could I go straight to the end and miss all those delicious caramelly profiteroles? I'm so glad to be watching this show with you, who has his eye on the prize, and you have the right priorities.
But so Zhaan's efforts seem to be successful, and Crichton at the same time manages to grab Crais and get him into a hold and defeat him, and he is going to kill him.
Yeah.
He is just literally willing to go okay, I can't get through. I can't get through to these kids. And
oh God, did you just do a Scottish impersonation of Edward James Olmos?
Probably, yes.
I can't get through to these kids. And gone is Crais.
And he's gone, yes.
Yeah. And
Maldis goes like...
Smug, smarmy Maldis.
Yeah, he goes like, well, I wasn't lying. I said, one of you could go back to your ship and the other one was going to die. And like, I put him back to his ship and he has this whole speech about how he's going to lure him in. And
because now Crais has been inflamed.
And then he gets his ship and he's going to use that to inflict more death.
Rain, death and destruction. And I wasn't really feeling Maldis. Like... Dude, I've seen you do incredible magic. I know that you're supposed to be scary, but you just feel so out of place. Yes. I can't imagine this show being about you.
No, he's the villain of the week a little bit in that regard.
I never imagined that he could have won.
No, well,
I never imagined that the show could have been from this point on about Maldis. But what was that like for you? Like. This is your first time. You don't really have a lot of preconceptions about Farscape.
No, like I said, like to me, he was the villain of the week. So I was like, I had no doubt that he was going to be defeated. It was just like the matter of how it was going to happen, which happens when Zhaan and Liko's little tryst comes to its peak, and Zhaan falls over, unconscious apparently, but she spiritually...
Her essence is transported into the castle.
She spiritually appears and does her little head grab thing, where she moves her hands around the head and like gives this like blue, glowy, starry field around his head.
Yeah, like this feathery force lightning.
Yep.
Just in time, which he was using. It's very similar to what Maldis was using, one-handed on Crichton. Like he had his hand up to Crichton's face and was wrapping his head in red fluffy force lightning. But she's getting more.
He gets sucker punched. It's just one punch to the face, and Maldis is gone. He disappears in a red mist, and that's it.
Now he's tangible. That was it. That's what she was
able
to
tangible.
do.
Yeah, because every time before, when he was being attacked, he just like briefly turned into his mist, and then like the attack went straight through. So yes, Maldis defeated. Crichton wakes up with a start, immediately grabs Rigel, who is still sitting behind his bed, stealing his boots.
Dargo and an Aeryn brought your corpse up here, and I revived you.
Yeah, he spent a lot. He must not have a lot of experience with laces because he's still on the boots.
He's still a bit sick, I suppose. But yeah, Crichton has a bit of an emotional moment where he's just like he kind of like tenderly holds Rigel, who seems to be kind of uncomfortable. He even kisses him right on the schnoz.
Yeah, and he goes, "Okay."
Of course you did. Last night, Kansas, and you're way too homely to be any him. But come here, Toto.
Yes, again with the references.
I thought that was so cool. Kisses him on his horrible like snotty schnoz with Zhaan's tiger balm. I can't imagine that being great.
And Zhaan and Liko also have a little moment, which unfortunately ends in the sadness of Liko's. Apparently, his power was drained by the
effort of their combined or whatever.
Maybe he was just sad and died. Oh no, wait, it's not. This is not Star Wars again.
I was kind of related it to the climactic scene of Titanic, where you have Rose and Leo DiCaprio, whatever his character was called.
Yes, on the door. Yeah.
Tearful goodbye, and I only regret that you and I didn't get to. And then he dies before he can say smash, which.
Wow.
Well, I'm pretty sure that... What do you think he was going to say? I only regret that you and I didn't get to...
See America?
Yeah, we'll just ask Leonardo DiCaprio. Even the big ones go down.
I mean, that seems like a reasonable thing to go.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's what they... Okay, thank you for keeping this a PG-13 podcast.
Crais, in the meantime, also awakens back on his ship.
I do not need further examination. I'm fully recovered.
Where he asks his first in command about okay, what's been going on? Nobody knows about this. Nobody still knows about the orders that we were given. Nobody knows. No communications have left the ship, and she confirms this.
And she's very proud of that because the other sort of PK Jugend looking fella, Lieutenant Orn, wanted permission to terminate him.
Right. Yeah, he was basically okay. He's as good as dead, so we might as well kill him and get on with it. You take over command.
Euthanize the captain as usual, and she prevented that. Yep. And he's very proud of her. So, and no one else knows about the communication now. Great.
And no one outside this chamber knows of the Admiral's orders.
I saw to that, sir.
And he snaps her neck.
Yeah, he tenderly touches her cheek, and you think he's going to kiss her, and then but it's such a gentle move. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
did they have like paper spines?
I guess serbations are not very strong in that department.
That'd be a good thing to know. If you have to fight a serbation, you can just like caress his chin and like turn his head to the left. Maybe that's it. Maybe they just can't turn their head to the left.
They're only right turners.
Yeah, no magnum for them.
Yeah, so Crais is crazier than ever.
Crais, he crazy.
And so the one thing that I noticed most about this episode was that, Zhaan and Dargo are pretty much entirely useless.
Aeryn and Dargo, you mean?
Sorry, Aeryn, yes, of course. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, presumably they were freed when Maldis was, and then it turns out, not killed, even in his corporeal state. Yes, this is another episode with a special guest, Case Cat, in the throes of the fourth sensation.
Yes, I mean, she still has over half an hour to go until dinner, but that's never stopped her before.
So he's only dispersed. He's not killed, he's only dispersed.
He will reform again, and then he will have to be dealt with. So who knows if he ever comes back in the future.
Maldis. Not his style. Not gothic enough.
Yeah,
the return of Maldis, maybe.
I mean, if this was Star Trek, he would be Q.
Ish, yeah.
But
see where you're coming from.
Way more sadistic than Q.
More like lore, I would say, except
a bit more powerful.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, certainly.
And the episode ends on another bit of a downer, where like Zhaan seems to have her crisis of faith.
Oh yeah, I mean, Aeryn has just paid her a compliment. Like, I always thought you were soft.
I see the warrior in you, and Dargo rolls his eyes, and it's like
you could not have cut her more deeply.
Yes, and
once again, Dargo showing incredible sensitivity to people.
Zhaan and Crichton having a little chat. About
after he's just finished
backstory.
Doing another recording, he's still doing the memos. This case for DK.
Yeah,
I just don't know, DK. I mean, maybe it was always a stupid thought, but I just figured if I could sit Crais down and talk to him, I could convince him I wasn't the murderer he thinks I am.
Also, again, surrounded by candles in the close-up that vanish in the like the mess or the galley or whatever they've got. Like it's a lovely space where they can just chill out and
a nice view of the outside. Again,
I love all the shelving that they've got. The shelving and jars and pots and pans and
again the sunset planet. Maybe that's just it. Moya probably just likes to hang out in the sunset or in the sunrise.
Yeah, just ahead of the Terminator.
Edge, just on the edge where the planet.
It's still nice and cool.
Yeah, something like that. She can either back up or advance a little bit depending if she's hot or cold. That seems like a good theory. At least it explains why everything's always like orangey sunset light in the.
That makes so much. Moya is basically a space cat then. She's just sort of prowling and lounging and going from one sunbeam to the next.
And teleporting. So, that makes sense. Yeah.
Crichton tries to comfort her, like, you let it out for this one time and you can do it again.
Now I have to rid myself of it again. And I don't know if I can do it, John.
And he offers to help and comes close to her, and she just grabs him. You can't help. No one can help. And she's furious, and
it's a very Zhaan.
No one can help me.
She realizes what she's doing when she sees the terror in his eyes, and she too is terrified. And, well, all's well that ends well.
I suppose.
This is
another fine Hallmark Entertainment production, I noticed.
Yeah, you finally noticed.
Yes, I have not seen that before. It's like...
So, bit of a downer, but that's kind of like the Farscape formula.
Yeah, they consistently end on a bit of a downer.
I really do appreciate it because it means that you're not you're not reset after the danger they were in. Like you can really reflect on the terror that everyone experienced.
Things have happened, bad things have happened. It hasn't had an emotional effect on the characters.
Yeah, and you've got to come down from that, and the come down is not often very very jokey and happy. So I think it's actually a really good formula to sort of process the emotions of because this has been a very scary and malevolent episode.
Yes.
Really.
Very much so.
Because it's about a conflict that is unresolvable, an unfair conflict that is unresolvable. And that's like anti-Star Trek, right?
Yes.
Where the basic principle is that any conflict is resolvable with appropriate communication. And here, you have the opportunity.
We have clearly made out that this is not going to work. There's nothing is going to sway him that he's going to give up the revenge for his brother. He's willing to defy command. He's willing to kill his own officers, anything to get at Crichton.
And he's going to keep at it till one of us dies.
Yeah, so we learned a lot more about peacekeepers than we did before, because we know a little bit about their culture through Aeryn and the military actions, but like we've never seen high command before. They talk about a council. We see more of the command structure below Crais and how his fitness is being doubted by various people. Yeah. Oh, his treatment of the doctor, who it must be one of those techs, because he's holding one of the divining dildos that only techs are allowed to hold.
Oh, yes.
Doctor, you will omit this entire incident from your medical log. Your utter failure to diagnose and treat my affliction will go unreported and unpunished. You're dismissed.
So I'm doing you a favor, bud.
Very harsh.
Oof.
Yeah.
What a world.
Yeah, they're not a very pleasant people, the peacekeepers.
I thought there still was a lot to enjoy about the episode. Certainly, like the planet that they were on and all the cool costume designs. Yeah. Yep. That it means it's time for Willy or Wadih.
She gives me a Wadih.
Willy's.
Well, I definitely have two Woodies. Like,
yeah, okay.
First one was the profiterole towers.
Yeah,
they were amazing.
They were so tempting. I was so disappointed that no one ate it.
Yes, and Liko's vest. Liko's vest was also like large fishnets but all of the meshes were just like with jewels and other like precious stones and like bits of shiny metal on it. It looks gorgeous.
A gorgeous like magenta colored chest underneath is beautiful. Wild hair too.
Oh yeah,
like
massive
80s Roxette.
Yeah, that's it. Like hairband type look.
Did you ever come up with a theory for why Maldis has the same eyes, but he has like human-looking skin,
right?
Caucasian skin.
At a certain point, I had a theory that Liko was actually just another incarnation of Maldis, and that because it was kind of like looking like he was trying to corrupt Zhaan into like going back to her old ways,
right?
But that theory didn't pan out at all. So
well, and also this was the little secret I said I'd come back to.
Yeah.
He was played by a different actor versus the jester and the old wizard.
My name is Maldis, but you can address me as Haloth if you like. I've got a lot of names, John boy. Call me whatever pops your cork.
Who were also played by the same
actor as Maldis.
Yeah,
he was just doing
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why you could like do their voices and everything. It's just what an amazing amount of fun it must have been for that actor.
Yeah, it was a great role, I suppose.
But you said this gave you two Woodies this episode. So
the profiteroles and Liko's vest.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just got. Once again, I just glossed over the profiteroles. I'm trying to lose some weight, Kay.
Okay, well, then don't
not to overfocus.
Maybe you're happy that they got knocked over then.
I can never be happy at the loss of profiteroles.
Very good point.
Liko was definitely for me as well. Honestly, Rigel, even though super gross, but walking around, he got even in a scene on his own. His Hynerian funeral ritual was so cool, and he was just alive, crawling all over Crichton. He was great.
I must have had a hard time like keeping still, like while that was going around him.
Yeah, while being like manhandled by a puppet like that with and like pulling on his cheek.
There
and
was
everything.
Probably a lot of retakes in that scene.
Good job, Ben Browder. Yes, we hear you. Oh, I'm so glad that we don't have translator microbes.
She's having her evening concerto.
Yes.
I really should replace it with a few scuttlebots.
Oh, that's a mean thing to say. He doesn't mean it, darling. So let me see. Do I have any other Woodies to give out? Oh, Crais. I've got to say, Crais is my Bishi, and we get to see him like a little bit stressed out, but like a little bit, yeah.
He is coming apart at the edges.
But to see his family as well, I guess we're sort of shifting the definition of what the giving of a Woody. Good gravy. As for the Willies, it's all Maldis and his sort of kink dungeon.
But he was not particularly menacing. He was well played, but I don't think that the character, the role of the character itself was particularly menacing or scary.
Which is really weird, because when you think about it, like he exercises a lot of power, everybody's constantly under threat, and yet I didn't come away with like a fear of Maldis.
No.
Which even when Q first appeared,
not like Count Iblis in the original Battlestar Galactica.
Also a very good one. Yeah, it's this malevolent force, and you're left with I'm still living in a universe
where this exists.
Yes.
And Maldis, not so much. You go like, okay, he might return later, but then it's going to be Return of Maldis, and probably with an axe to grind. But he's like,
and maybe
he doesn't do anything. That's the thing. It's like
I know.
He's like he just like sets people up against each other and like feeds on that, but he doesn't really do anything himself. Well, he was going to kill Crichton, I suppose, but
yeah.
That never really
mostly
became
into making like conflicts worse. Like it's like a bad relative who just a lonely old aunt who
stokes the fires on Facebook.
Yes, exactly. Who really gets off on the hot goss.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a Willy from Maldis. Oof. Gonna have to. Hey, note to self: do not make that the title of this episode.
A Willy from Maldis. Wow.
Oh God, I've said it twice. What? And that's the story so Farscape.
We'll see you next week with episode number 109, DNA Mad Scientist.
Ooh!
Where in exchange for samples of their DNA, a genetic scientist offers the Moyen star charge to reach their respective homeworlds. But his demands become too extreme when he takes one of Pilot's arms, and his experiments result in Aeryn mutating into a Pilot hybrid.
Okay, I'm really excited about this, and I'm also going to have to look at some of these synopses because wow, they do give a lot away. We're going to maybe do some more spoiler-free synopses next time for UK. But in the meantime, you can find us at SoFarscape on Twitter and Facebook, and on SoFarscape.com. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.